in order to have a system implemented well, you need good project management. So managing the implementation project is crucial. And what is needed is you need a project manager. So project management is planning, organizing, laying out the steps, and making sure that the project is implemented and stays on track, and so forth, directing the day-to-day operations. So the project manager does that, and they're the person that is tagged as responsible for the project. In general, this is a career move for the project manager. You'll often see a project manager that is a director in the organization, possibly. And this is a play for them to get promoted to vice president or maybe even a C-level suite. So the project manager is, especially for an enterprise level project, this is a career move, make or break move for them. Now, on the other hand, we've got a project sponsor. This is generally someone already in the C-suite, and you'll have a senior executive, maybe an EVP in the company, who takes responsibility and becomes the champion, if you will, for the success of the project. So this is the person who's going to work hand in hand with the project manager to kind of smooth any obstacles, make sure funding is available for the project, walk through the political landmines, and make sure that the people that need to be on board get brought on board. So the project sponsor plays that role at the executive level, where the project manager is a little bit further down the food chain in the organization, working to bring this project to bear. And project management is not without its challenges, especially for a very complicated enterprise level implementation, which any ERP would be, CRM, customer relationship management, certainly, supply chain. So even pieces of ERPs can be challenging projects. So you can see here, over a decade and a half, the number of successful projects has certainly gone up, but unmitigated successes are still in the minority of large enterprise projects. This is not something, project management has gotten a little bit more structured, best practices have been identified, but not every organization, not every project manager handles it well. So when it comes to an IT project, we've got a triple constraint. So you might remember the triangle from the fraud triangle. In this case, it's basically a set of constraints we have on the project itself. So we can set a project scope. So much like you have a scope for your audit, you have a scope for what the IT project is going to attempt. And that's an important thing to put a border around, because IT projects, as with any project, tend to have what's called scope creep, where they just keep kind of getting better and better. So a strong project manager needs to be able to manage that scope and make sure that the scope stays within guidelines. Your next constraint is the amount of time. Generally, you have a target date for various IT projects. The target dates may be hard. You may need to get it done within this certain amount of time in order to free resources up for other activities. And then you have the cost. Instead of cost, I like to use the term resources, because in general, you're talking about the number of people you can bring to bear on this project. So if the project is falling behind, the idea is you might be able to bring more people on hand, whether it be more people internal to the organization or more consultants. And in general, a good project is going to have a nice mix of internal and external team members working on the project. Now, there is a limit to your ability to throw more resources at a project. There's an old saying, 9 women can't have a baby in 1 month. So there are some aspects of projects that you just can't speed up. Certain things just take a certain amount of time to run. Converting data, oftentimes you have a runtime that's required to run all the data. I've been on some data conversion projects where the data conversion ran for weeks in order to get data converted into the new system. So there's no way you can speed that up. without bringing in a whole new set of hardware and software to deal with it. You can't put more people on it because the computing resources have limitations. And there are plenty of other tasks like that. The testing process can be sped up to a certain degree, but unless you start to chop tasks off and take shortcuts, it can't be sped up that much. So you have these three things, and generally if you increase one, that means you're either going to take shortcuts on the other or have to increase them as well. And you can see their quality is the outcome of these constraints. So it's a function of those constraints.